Hey everyone, welcome to yet another bi-weekly reading. Nice, beautiful mixture of intuitive energy reading and astrology. And I'm bringing this to you, of course, together with Shiv. Hi Shiv, how are you
Hi,
today?
everybody. Yeah, we're here. We made it through April. We're mostly through May. Here we go. More full moon.
Yeah, that's totally true. We are coming up to the full moon. So also that's why this reading is really powerful and nice for you to hear because it is all about serving the energies of the upcoming 2 week. The way it works is that I do an intuitive reading. I feel out the energies of the collective, and Shivoso is going to enlighten us by bringing his astrology, also combined with his intuition. So that is a beautiful mixture. And the way it also works is that the intuitives we've noticed we are moving through the energies a bit earlier than the rest of the collective. So it could be that you're listening to our reading and that you're like, okay, I already recognize some of what you are talking about. But there's also new stuff for you guys. As for the rest, well, just listen and let it come into fruition. And you can even check us, when you listen to our readings and then go move through your weeks and every time look back, check the boxes. Yeah, they said that. That's how we feel now that how powerful these readings are starting to get. So I'm going to start with the intuitive reading and then Shiv is going to follow up, right?
Yep, that sounds perfect. I can't wait to hear what you have to say because it took me a while to get this report together. There's so much still happening.
Mm. Definitely. So I'm gonna jump right in because, like you said, a
Yeah,
lot of
get
movement.
it.
Um, what I felt at first was that the main base within these 2 weeks was kind of gentle. There's a lot of possibility to connect to tranquility and the power of love. Um, and as I say love, I don't mean the just the usual partnership love. No, I mean the general love. Love is in looking at and smelling a flower or listening to the birds, feeling the sun on your skin. Um, yeah, I had a beautiful reading with another reader because I also go through processes, and he also said to me like love is in everything, it is love is there, love is surrounding you, and that is really really beautiful because it is true. Sometimes we tend to forget that, and we try to figure out how to make our life in the way that we feel most loved, while love is already surrounding us. Each and every one of us has guides as well. So guides and angels, people, they are the real deal. So you can always call for them. And as I'm saying that, I want to jump to the next point, which is bringing back the magic, bringing back the magic on Earth. You might have noticed already that the aurora was visible. Beautiful, beautiful pictures have been made by these um, by beautiful photographers that created, yeah, beautiful pictures of all the colors in the sky. It was green, it was purple, it was pink, and we can look at that as something that just happened scientifically. The way I feel it and the way I also want to voice now, know it for myself. Um, as my own truth. I'm not going to put it on you, but I really feel it strongly that the magic is returning on Earth, and the frequencies are getting higher and higher. Now, at the same time, we are also purging collectively. So, as we said a couple of months ago, 2024 is also a year of purging. So, a lot of stuff is going on at the moment. Yeah, exposing truths that have been lurking in the dark, but they are coming out to light. So yeah, it's good to see this, and also to realize that you don't have to be with that with a fearful state. It's really good to keep your own balance and to work on your own balance, because now is also the time frame that, depending on where you are in your journey, where we are going to learn to stay more in our center. And what I mean by that is, again, the connection with our higher self. The more we can ground that, the more we connect to that on a daily basis, the stronger we get. And then we get less affected by outside stimulus. And that is a really important journey to take. Again, we are right there with you in the journey. I'm also being prepared to step into that more and more, which I at times find really hard, being so sensitive and picking up on what other people are thinking and feeling. Yeah, it can be a really big challenge, but also me, they are preparing like, hey, you have to be in your center, woman, because it's really important. So not only for me, for everyone. Okay, and then I want to go to truth. Truth is going to be a very big topic these 2 weeks. I also mentioned it in our last reading. Um, really opening up in conversation and speaking your truth, no matter what the outcome. Because the moment you are fearful of outcome, you are going to hold stuff in. The energy is going to be blocked, and then you cannot fully, the energy cannot fully flow. So it is really important that if you have conversations to have, yeah, that you bring your truth in an honest and in a gentle way. See if you can really create a container together with softness and speak your truth. That will surely provide you with the most freedom. I'm also coming from a place of softness and moving through that myself, having really open conversations with two exes of mine in these weeks. And it's been enlightening, I think, for for all of us, being really, really honest about how we experience things, to learn from that. Um, so yeah, it's really beautiful when you can connect in a good space, then to listen to each other, and to move from there. Let's see, because I always write these things down as well, what I feel intuitively. Ah, yeah, letting people go on their own journey. Now, this is this is a challenge, no? Yeah, it is really important for us to walk our own path, because that is the only way we can fully open up to our lessons. Today I listened to a song, and the way it was being expressed, let me walk my own journey because I want to feel it in my bones. And I have to say honestly that was one of the lessons of the past 2 weeks, that there were some friends, but also a loved one, that I was like, okay, I really want to give some loving advice, and that is beautiful. onto a certain extent, and then we really need to release and trust and let go, and let people walk their own journey. And for me, this was about, being on the path, being opened up to energetical work is not nothing. I came in front of a lot of challenges. So there was a part of me that also wanted to maybe protect from a state of love. But I also realized that I cannot do it for others. And I wouldn't have want to miss my own journey. People told me a lot of things, but it only, brought me resistance. So yeah, look at where in your life you have, where you are giving maybe some advice or wanting to guide someone, but maybe it's really time for them to let their knees get a little scratched, and for you to just be a gentle container for whenever that is necessary, to land in that space. So let me check if I have all things. Yeah, last one is standing in your truth. Um, and that is always, of course, your personal truth. But feel it out. Where are people maybe tickling you and challenging you on your perspectives? Always keep an open mind, I'd say, but also feel out where are you giving your power away. You also know you, and when you tap into your intuition, you will find your truth.
Hmm.
Okay, on that bombshell, we are going to shift.
You did it again. You did it again. So yeah, um, you started out with love, and this upcoming full moon has so much juicy love in it that yes, love is in the air. Love is in the air, and it's not just, I mean, we can get caught into the romantic thing, right? The Valentines and roses and kisses and um, all of that. But there's actually a deeper calling there around what love really is. And love is this, I think of the Greek word of agape, of, love of everything, this sense that everything has our open-hearted support and connection and sense of the sacred. And so yeah, we're gonna I'm gonna go through this report, and I'm gonna mention some of the things that you mentioned, because it wasn't just that, but that's where I was gonna start, was with the full moon, because the full moon is in Sagittarius, and it's on that Sagittarius Gemini axis, and that's pretty exuberant. It's Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. It's like, okay, this is actually a more fun, loving, lighter full moon than we've had in a while. Um, at the same time, it's pretty still really intense, and as you probably all have noticed, it's been pretty intense, although it's really hard to describe in a really short number of words, but it hasn't been great for everybody, obviously. But for some of us, it feels like, oh, I'm starting to feel like things are moving, good things are happening. We've had a lot of that Uranus Jupiter come out as kind of good luck, or a feeling of good luck, and a feeling of like, oh, surprise, that was a good surprise. So we've had a lot of good surprises, but I just don't want to give you the impression that even though this is a really nice and fairly positive full moon, that it's working out for everybody that way, because everything balances out. And so some people are deep in some serious suffering, and we know about the world and the suffering it's in, but even personally, some people are still leaving the planet, and some people are not having a good time, because it's challenging sometimes when other people are having a good time, and things seem to be working for them, and it's like, well, what the fuck's wrong with me, right? Why isn't it my karma working out such that I feel all optimistic. But it's there for us. It's there for a lot of us on the collective, is that optimism that comes with the Sagittarius. The Sagittarius full moon is going to be having Jupiter conjunct Venus and sextile Neptune. On that day, Venus actually moves into Gemini. Jupiter is still in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. And Neptune is over there at the end of Pisces at the 29th degree in its ruling sign. It's the most Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, the most Pisces degree of Pisces. It's just sitting there as it's going to go backwards. And that 29th degree is going to happen a few times, but it's a really powerful weekend. It's a really powerful week that we're stepping into with this full moon, because it's all kind of lining up to bring us this dreamy, romantic, possibilities wide open, optimistic. Let's go for it. Let's fall in love. Let's get married. Let's go for it. Let's try the thing we haven't tried before. Let's be adventurous, because we're heading into Gemini, which is all about like, I'm wide open. Let's do something really exciting. So, of course, the downside of that is we can overexpand. We can overconfident. We can overdo it. We can have too much, because at the same time that we've got this Jupiter, which expands everything kind of across the board, which means you can go overboard, we also have it trine to Pluto. And that trine to Pluto is about power and intensity and transformation and death and truth. I wanted to drop that in because it's about truth, right? And since the trine is a pretty synergistic and beneficial aspect, it's going to be, Pluto is like super activated right now over there in Aquarius, going retrograde. It's barely moving, but it's slightly retrograde, but it's trining Jupiter, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus as they all move into Gemini. So right now it's just like ding, 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 ding with Pluto. And so Pluto's very much affecting how this is all the flavor of this, which means intensity, passion, truth, the unconscious, wealth, power, all of the Plutonic stuff is going to be kind of like flavoring all of this romance and things. So it's not a light thing. It's not going to be a giddy, playful light. It's more like, no, this is like deadly serious love, right? And so if we get too attached, obsessive about one person or one relationship, it can often turn dark. The idea is to crack your heart open, to realize, oh, life is, even though it's horrific, it's also lovely. It's also beautiful. We live on an incredible, beautiful planet. Here we are in spring. We're going to have this really beautiful June. Things are warming up in the northern hemisphere. Things are coming along. So, as Venus and all these other planets enter Gemini, we're going to get this lift out of the more steady and kind of homey feel of Taurus that we've been in. And we're going to get this kind of giddy, flirty, adventurous, intellectual kind of mental air sign, Gemini. So we've had the sun just got into Gemini a couple of days ago. And by the time we get to the full moon, we got Venus heading into Gemini. And then right behind it will be coming Jupiter and then Mercury, or is it Mercury then Jupiter? So we've got this Gemini switch. So we're going to feel some changes. And I would say that um, this full moon is a fun time to have a good time. Don't hold back, but do show some restraint, right? That's the main thing. On May 25th, Jupiter enters Gemini. And like I said, Gemini is this open-minded, big picture, intellectual, willing to learn, but also can be like superficial, to like just sort of just touches on ideas, doesn't really have any follow through, has more ideas than it can actually deal with, and kind of like gets a little ADD, it just goes from thing to thing to thing, right? So we want to be able to like hold on to some of that Taurian, like, hey, let's just check each thing out as it comes along, right? But we're gonna want to just go for it, right? Um, Also during this week and this whole upcoming this week we just had and the upcoming week, we have this one little fly in the ointment, is what I called it in my written report. And that is Mars is half square to the sun and then Venus, all the way until we get to June 1st. And we've had this for a week. So you may have been noticing that underneath all of this sort of like, oh, those are good things are happening, is this sort of irritating dissatisfaction, kind of like I've been cranky, like kind of grumpy, and noticing a lot of negative mindset, kind of like wanting to jump in there, even though objectively things are actually going really well. It's like, wow, it's firing on all cylinders. Everything seems to be going right. Why am I complaining about something? Why do I have this sort of feeling that things aren't quite it, right? And that's Mars and Aries half square to the sun, which is our self, and to Venus, which is our values. So it's a bit of dissatisfaction there. And that's to help us, not just be bliss ninnies, but also if you have sort of a mental habit of being cynical or dissatisfied, check that. It might be sort of coming up so you can kind of go, oh yeah, that is one of my mental habits, is to go to the dark side, to think, oh, it's all fucked, why bother, all of that, and just get irritated and dissatisfied and even, cranky, kind of get bitchy, I can use that word. And that goes on until like June 1st, right? It'll fade away. It was kind of peaking now this week. So if you've been feeling any of that in the middle of all of this yummy yum sauce, well, that's what's up, right? What else we got? The 27th, Saturn is sextile to Mercury, and that will help us be a little more serious in our thoughts. Mercury's still in Taurus at that point, and so yeah, that'll help us kind of ground out a little bit, but it's only for a few hours. It's really like a day, right? And then we're back into Moon conjunct Pluto, more intense feelings, like more intensity. And that can go either way. That can be either positive or negative. But since we've got Jupiter there, the sun there, it's all super kind of like optimistic and happy-go-lucky. And it's a trine with Pluto's in that trine. So we'll tend more towards the light side and the fun side, but it'll still be pretty intense. Then on May 30th, we get the moon square the sun, the waning square, and we're on our way to the new moon. So a week's gone by, and Mercury will be conjuncting Uranus in Taurus at that moment. And while it sweeps over Uranus, we are likely to experience some mental changes. We might be kind of scattered. We might change our mind about something we were sure about before. We might have some deflections in our travels because that's Mercury, right? So it's like, oh, suddenly like delays, no, not delays so much as like, oh, you're going to go here first. Yeah, surprise. So some surprises in your travels, thoughts, communications, just during that couple of days right around the 30th there. 31st, we're getting to the end of the month, right? Moon conjunct Saturn. So we get another little drop of more serious kind of feelings and intuitions, kind of like grounds us out a little bit in all this giddiness. Let's see. Then we get to oh yeah, Neptune. Neptune's been pretty influential during this whole time too. And on the 31st, it actually the moon conjuncts later in the day, conjuncts Neptune. And so you may have been noticing for the last week or so, and during this whole next 2 weeks, your dreams are going to be really vivid. There's going to be a lot of them. You might be getting woken up several times a night with dreams about things of the past, the future, people you haven't thought about in a long time. You may be having people show up in your life you haven't seen in a while. Neptune is the is even more expansive than Jupiter, but it's also dreamy, and our imaginations and our higher inspirations and our dreams. So think about your dreams, take those seriously. It's a good time to write them down because there's a lot happening in the dream realms, a lot of processing going on there. Right. So the moon's going to sextile to Jupiter on that 31st while Pluto is trine to Jupiter. So Jupiter gets emphasized there. That's going to expand all of that dreamy stuff that's going on, right? Moon is our intuition. During this whole time, we've had this, what they call a minor grand trine with Neptune at the 29th degree of Pisces. sextile to Pluto, and also is sextiling all of these planets as they move into Gemini, right? As they cross over the cusp from Taurus to Gemini, each one sextiles Neptune while it's trining Pluto. And that makes what they call a minor grand trine. It's like two sextiles and a trine, right? And that's called the talent triangle. Obviously, its sextiles and trines are really beneficial aspects. They call them beneficial. They're really synergistic. And so they will emphasize and make flow anything of any of the aspects or any of the planets and signs that they move through. And so that actual minor grand trine is something that's going to go on in essence for about the next decade, because Uranus is going to move into that position where all of the planets are moving into Gemini. It's going to move into Gemini later on this year, and then it's going to move back and forth. And it's going to keep that minor grand trine with Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. And Neptune's here as it moves back and forth, and Pluto, and they're just going to stay in there. And that's, you mentioned magic. And I think this is the beginning of a very magical period. Neptune is also magic and the transcendental, and Pluto is power and the underworld and transformation, and Uranus is sudden change. So Uranus isn't in that mix quite yet. It's going to move back into it, but it's made its first touch with that minor grand trine, and with all these planets triggering that minor grand trine this month, this week, we're getting a preview of magic. So however you define magic, I'm not talking about like hocus pocus magic. I'm talking about life is enchanted, that there's something bigger going on, and there's something more than just the material realm. And so however that's going to show up in the next decade, a rise up of spirituality, of religion, of looking at things through a different lens than straight materiality. And that can go either way. That can be really great, or it can be horrifically dark. It all depends on us and how we like handle that magic. So that's we're getting a precursor of that. This is a very magical moment during a very magical time. April was like the door opened, the portal got blown open, and now spirits are moving, things are moving with Neptune there. Let's see, June 2nd, Mercury enters Gemini. And so then we've got 4 planets in Gemini. The moon's going to sweep in there, and we'll have 5 planets in Gemini during that first week of June. And that means, wow, it's going to be very Gemini. Giddy, funny, flirty, shallow, overwhelmed with information, too many ideas, too much talking, not enough action. But at the same time, ready for adventure, open-minded. Hey, let's try something different. Let's think of something different. So there's a lot of great possibilities with us moving into Gemini. It's not going to be a bad thing, but we do have to kind of keep our inner ADD kind of little checked, let's just make sure we're like crossing our T's and dotting our I's this month as June works in. Mercury will conjunct Jupiter the next day on a couple days later on the 4th, which expands our mental. We'll get super zoomy and intellectual. Maybe our focus will be really good, but we'll be excitable, optimistic, genius. Also could be hubris, like I know what's right and my way or the highway. And so, you could have arguments and things like that, but the sun will be conjunct Venus, which means, no, we're going to hug it out. You know, it's like Venus is all over this, and that's helping a lot. Jupiter is really positive too. So remember, Venus is about love, harmony, beauty, relationships, finances, the things we value. So having Venus kind of sweeping through all of these planets and conjuncting them one at a time has really brought it kind of relationships up to be processed and fixed and worked on and made better. It's made love much more possible. romantic love and also like just love and appreciation of our lives as they are. Love and appreciation of the nice weather, whatever it is, little kids and, bunnies and things like that. Um, it's also been coming up to being trine to the moon's nodes, trine to the south node and sextile to the north node. And those are our nodes of destiny. Collectively, we're actually making some big shifts in a positive way. Sextile, um, trine to the past, sextile to our future, which means, yeah, in a subtle and undercurrent way, we're actually heading towards something better. And hopefully you're all feeling like, okay, yeah, this is intense, but I think we're going someplace better. And we can see what's wrong. It's all been in our face, how the world is not handling itself right, that we've got leaders who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And people are like, it doesn't make any sense. Why is the world like this? Oh, it's us not taking action with our magical powers and our actual third dimensional actions to make the world the way we want it to be, that's right for our children to grow up in and for all the critters and all the magic that's here. So this is a very, very fateful time. Um, June 6th, we get the new moon in Gemini, a new beginning, right? And whew, lots of ideas coming, lots of inspirations maybe coming through. The sun is still conjunct Venus because they kind of travel along together. So it's going to be a very lovely, potentially a very, very lovely time. And I want you all to enjoy this. Y'all kind of deserve some ease and flow and love and joy and excitement about life because it's been hard. 2024, 2023 has been no joke, right? Um, with the sun and all of this stuff happening at the beginning of June, it kind of sets the tone for June to be about open-mindedness, about relationships, about ways we make our money, and what we create, right? So it's a creative time, and what we value. What's really important to us, and how can we bring that to the fore, and how can we get more of what we love and what we want in our lives? And so there's that Jupiterian optimism kind of saying, yeah, we can do this. And so I'd say go for it. Absolutely. If you can, go for it. If you need to support the people around you in their upliftment, do that work because we all have to go together. It's just the sort of the law of the minimum. We all have to like make steps forward. We can't leave people behind. We're not going to get a second Earth. So what I wrote at the end was, we will get nowhere if we don't focus on creating and maintaining harmonious relationships with ourselves, with others, and the universe, the environment around us. Because the foundation, I believe, and I want to put this out as a premise, the foundation of the universe, of reality, is not atoms and quarks and things like that. It's relationships. It's the relationships between things. So it isn't about matter. It's about the relationships. And the way we work our magic is through the way we love, the way we care, the way what we make sacred and what we care about. And so I just want to take this very beautiful time and encourage everyone to love your life, love your environment, love the people that you love, help who you can. And like she was saying, don't try to rescue anybody. There was this one thing where Mars is conjunct Chiron on the 29th. And I wrote, it's a moment of pain leading to healing and or holding someone through it. But you got to keep in mind that you have to let people have their karma. You got to let them have their journey because otherwise you disempower them. So rescuing somebody without being asked, without being begged, please help me, tell me what to do, support me, rather than just perpetuating the victim of like, oh, you poor little thing, let me give you some money. Let me just make this work for you. Let me take care of you. So you're a helpless victim and I'm the rescuer. So don't be the rescuer, but do be the supporter and do be the listener and do keep your heart open. So it's a subtle game, folks. Yeah, I guess that's the closure. Yeah, it's kind of a big one. I'm really enjoying this time for sure. And at the same time, I feel challenged to stay on the light side, to stay on the light side isn't the right word. It's more like stay in the positive because there's so much to be that could be better, you know? There's so much that I can feel and see that's wrong, it's brokenheartedly wrong, that I feel almost guilty because things are going so well. And it's like, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? You know, when's the bill going to come due on this? Because I know it doesn't always stay like this, so I'm not trying to grasp after it, but at the same time, I do need to remember to enjoy it, to let myself enjoy this, the gift of the friends I have and the family I have and the opportunities I have and the privilege I have, honestly, to live the life I am. So I've been doing a lot of gratitude practices of like, this is nice. So I hope it's going nice for y'all out there. I really do. And if it's not, my heart goes out to you. There's a lot of pain we still got to go through. So, um,
Yeah. And I
whew.
really love what you're saying, because please enjoy when you are feeling good, because then you also up the frequency. You have been moving through some really difficult times, me as well. Loads of people have been moving through really, really big stuff, and what is the beauty in that is that we also gain strength. So the moments that we gain strength, and that we can, even in a world that's going haywire, stay positive. That has nothing to do with being a bliss ninny, or at least until what extent you take it. But to be a grounding source of that positivity, and to let yourself be okay with enjoying life, can be such a nice foundation for others, not to rescue them, but to just sit with you, even.
Mhm.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys or you remember that maybe you were going through a frantic state. You could just sit with someone that was at ease and that could enjoy life in that moment. And maybe, yeah, maybe it's such a contrast, but it's also really helpful, to feel that frequency and to get inspired.
Yeah.
How
To
I
do it on
feel.
the subtle, rather than the overt, like trying to make somebody feel better, you just feel better. You just feel better and you ground and you just be there. And it does make a difference. It's like I've noticed that a lot of the vibe out there in my town, my city is pretty frantic and stressed. People are worried and they're scared and they're getting fragile. And so the more I can be in this kind of like, God, life is so wonderful. It's just like the more I can just let that kind of be my reality and focus on that, the more I can kind of like create a little ease for those around me without having to do anything or rescue anybody. It's like at least not making it worse, you know? It's like our intensity and our crankiness and our resistance to it all just, makes it worse. It's like, okay, how can we make this better? Oh, it's on the inside. It starts on the
Mm.
inside, and it isn't about being a bliss ninny. It's about being brokenhearted and still being loving. And that's a tough game.
Wow, that one really touches. And it's so true. I also have been feeling that um, these past weeks. Like, even though there's still old stuff there, there's also a lot of new and love. Especially, you were talking about the shift in April, 8th of April. It has done it has brought such a big movement again of the magic of love, of compassion. of inner strength. And for those of us who can hold that frequency, that will be such a help. At the same time, we are also moving through our own shizzle. I want
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
to, but to keep that frequency up, it's so important.
Yeah.
So important. So much magic coming in. There are sightings of meteors, of auroras, also really, really loads of good stuff happening, people. Look for the magic, not only on the outside, but also within. It is there. It is absolutely there.
Yeah. And I think that's the
Coming from,
alchemical solution to the insolvable problems
exactly.
that
Yeah,
we have.
coming
Yeah.
from
Like, oh,
people who have really been like in the past year moving through the mud, I'd
mhm.
say.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Since
Yeah.
2020, when it all kind of went to shit, and a lot of us haven't like recovered our optimism, and
Mm.
so this is kind of like a week, a couple of weeks where it's a little easier to grab the optimism and nurture it, and water it and fluff it up and take off the dead leaves and blossom that, because we need as much optimism as we can get. It's like the world's going to keep going one way or the other. So,
I want to bring out a really nice um, symbol for that. This is
aw,
the phoenix, and one of the beautiful things is that you and me in 2019 we met each other on a festival in Spain that held a phoenix in on its poster,
yeah,
and that for
Agni.
me, Agni exactly,
Yeah,
and that for me felt like the start of a really big transformation. And now 5 years later, we are in a totally different position. Really, we've seen each other move through states. People, we still love each other, but
yeah,
it has been deep. It has been deep, deep groundwork. And now, 5 years later, we are going to be on 5, 6, and 7th of July here in the Netherlands on a festival called Let's Start a Fire, again with the phoenix. And the phoenix is such a beautiful symbol of moving through the muddiness
yeah,
and into the rise. It is really the rise of the phoenix within everyone.
that is
We're
my
gonna rock it for
that's my
sure.
symbol. Since I call myself Shivoso Phoenix, I knew it was about rising from the flames. So here we
Yeah.
are. We're going to teach at this festival, Start a Fire in July, and I'm going to fly to the Netherlands and actually get to see Phina for the first time, like face to face, in just a month. About a month from now, I'll be heading there. So we'll keep the reports up, but you'll actually get to see us in the same room, which will be really, really fun.
I
So
am so looking forward to give you a hug in real life again. Like you said, COVID has been in between. We couldn't do this sooner, and we couldn't do this sooner.
yeah, we
We
couldn't
had
do
to
it
do,
sooner. It's perfect timing. It's
yeah,
like just allowing and accepting that it is what it is. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, we're making the plans, because hey, we got that optimism, we got the opportunity, the flights are booked, we got the workshop getting worked out, what we're gonna do, and super looking
yeah.
forward to a Europe tour. We're gonna hit a couple of places and do whatever offerings we can. It's gonna be super fun.
We are, and it's really nice. On Let's Start a Fire, we are going to be there together, hosting a workshop about sacred sexuality.
Right?
Um,
Sacred relationship, sacred sexuality. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
really
super
deep.
excited about it. It's going to be really fun. I haven't done relationship stuff that much until very recently. And also another announcement is I just started another podcast, which will be here on YouTube, called Relationship Medicine, with my other colleague and really good friend and clan member, Haiku Rebel. So every week you're going to see my face on YouTube, either talking about astrology and the intuitive energies or relationship or both at the same time. And I can't wait to get till we get all three of us together to
Mm,
really pull off an amazing workshops together that are going to be really inspirational, I think. So this is just the beginning. Like I said, we're initiating a lot of things right now, post
yeah.
April, and it's really time. It's go time. If you got an inspiration, if you know spirit coming into you, if you got something you really want to be doing or making, what's your life purpose? If you only had 5 years left to go, what do you want to be doing? You know, it's like what do you want the rest of your life to look like? Because this is setting the tone for the next decade at least. You know, it isn't all dystopia despite what the news cycle wants us to believe. It's up to us. So yeah, Phina and I are doing our part. We're gonna just do the good shit.
Yeah, for sure.
The good
And what I
shizzle.
want, the good chisel. And what I wanted to say about that is for the viewers that are from the Netherlands, if you have the chance to be there at the beginning of July, this workshop is going to be really great. Going to bring an intuitive perspective about the energetics of relating and what happens on a on the energetical field in terms of sexuality and connection. And Shiv is going to enlighten us with his 20 years of experience in the tantric field. So we're going to make an awesome combination. And then also he's there with the human design readings. I'm going to do group healings, and we have so much goodness. We have also beautiful musicians. We have Lotte Walda, we have May and June, both the one-man band. We have conductive drumming. We have creating fire. We have hula hooping. We have ecstatic dance, of course. Good food. Everything's gonna be there. So just come.
Yeah,
Just
it's
come.
gonna be awesome. Yeah, you'll hear
Yeah,
more, you might hear us more raving about it and as we get closer to it. But yeah, just a
definitely.
couple of more reports and we're gonna be there. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
This feels like a
I
wrap.
can here right now, and I want to go running. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
let's run it up and see each other next time.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks to y'all for sticking through it and give us your feedback, subscribe, press your likes, send us some information, send us some questions, and send us some feedback. We'd love that. Anyway, we love you guys. Mwah.
Sure. See you next time. Mwah.